Have you ever wondered why more than 80% of our oceans remain unexplored while we know more about the surface of Mars? What if I told you that the deep waters of our planet might be hiding evidence of an extraterrestrial presence dating back thousands of years? I'm not talking about baseless conspiracy theories, but documented cases by the U.S. Navy itself, reports from fishermen around the world, and archaeological discoveries that challenge everything we thought we knew about Earth's history. Today we're diving into one of humanity's greatest mysteries, the possibility that advanced reptilian civilizations have established underwater bases in our oceans, using isolated islands as strategic points of operation. Prepare yourself for a journey that will question everything you believe you know about who really governs our planet. March 1963. 120 kilometers off the coast of Puerto Rico, a U.S. Navy fleet led by the aircraft carrier USS Wasp was conducting routine anti-submarine exercises. It was a day like any other until their sonar systems detected something that shouldn't exist. For 4 consecutive days, sonar operators tracked an unidentified underwater object moving at impossible speeds, more than 280 kilometers per hour underwater. To give you an idea, the most advanced nuclear submarine of the era could barely reach 80 kilometers per hour when submerged. But the speed was just the beginning of the mystery. The object was tracked descending to depths of more than 8,000 meters, where water pressure would crush any vessel known to humanity. Naval engineers calculated that completely revolutionary technology would be necessary to build something capable of withstanding such pressure. The Navy's official report classified the incident, but decades later, leaks revealed disturbing details. The object not only moved at impossible speeds, but also executed maneuvers that defied the laws of physics. Sudden direction changes that would generate lethal G-forces for any human crew. Did the U.S. Navy find evidence of advanced reptilian technology in those waters? Declassified documents suggest that the military believed they were dealing with something of non-human origin. But why did Puerto Rico seem to be a focal point for this mysterious activity? Since the early 1990s, Puerto Rico has become one of the world's largest centers of UFO activity. But we're not just talking about aerial sightings. Witnesses consistently report objects emerging from the waters around the island, suggesting the existence of a massive underwater base. Local fishermen have known these waters for generations, and their stories are remarkably consistent. They describe bright lights moving beneath the waves, metallic objects silently emerging from the surface and disappearing into the oceanic depths. Some report having seen submerged structures that don't appear on any official map. Maria Santos, a 4th-generation fisherwoman from Puerto Rico's southern coast, shared a disturbing account. In 1990, during a night fishing trip, she and her crew observed an intense light approaching from below. The water around the boat began to bubble and then heat up. Then a metallic structure the size of a football stadium partially emerged, revealing a smooth surface with symbols she described as reptilian hieroglyphs. What makes the Puerto Rico case even more intriguing is its unique geology. The island sits over one of the Atlantic's deepest oceanic trenches, the Puerto Rico Trench, which descends to more than 8,000 meters. It would be the perfect location for an advanced aquatic civilization to establish an operational base without human detection. Independent researchers have collected more than 500 documented reports of anomalous underwater activity around Puerto Rico over the past 3 decades. The pattern is always the same: objects of clearly superior technology emerging from oceanic depths, remaining briefly on the surface, and then disappearing without leaving traces detectable by conventional human technology. In the frigid waters of the Bering Sea, a chain of more than 100 small islands extends for almost 2,000 kilometers, separating the North Pacific from the Arctic. The Aleutian Islands have always been considered one of the planet's most isolated and inhospitable regions. But perhaps this apparent desolation is exactly what makes them attractive to visitors from other worlds. In the summer of 1945, just months before the end of World War II, teen crew members of the military transport USS Delaroff reported a sighting that defied any conventional explanation. During a routine patrol near Adak Island, they observed a circular object emerge from nearby waters. The official report, filed away for decades, describes a disc-shaped object that rose vertically from the ocean surface, circled the vessel 3 times in precise movements, and then disappeared skyward at a speed observers estimated at thousands of kilometers per hour. But what makes this case particularly relevant to our investigation is the location. A dock sits over one of the planet's most geologically active regions, part of the Pacific Ring of Fire. Underwater volcanic activity has created a complex network of natural caves and tunnels that could serve perfectly as shelters for an underwater civilization. Recent geological studies have revealed anomalous structures on the ocean floor around the Aleutians, formations that appear artificial in sonar images, but are located at depths that make human exploration practically impossible. Some researchers suggest these structures may be evidence of ancient reptilian constructions designed to harness the region's geothermal energy. The native Aleutes preserve legends that speak of serpentine beings who emerged from the sea in ancient times, bringing advanced knowledge about navigation and astronomy. These oral traditions, transmitted for thousands of years, describe intelligent creatures with reptilian characteristics who established alliances with certain tribes, teaching them secrets that allowed their survival in the Arctic's extreme conditions. To understand the possibility of a reptilian presence in our oceans, we need to question the very origins of life on Earth. For decades, mainstream science has defended the primordial soup theory, the idea that life arose spontaneously from Earth's primitive oceans. But this theory faces fundamental problems that few scientists publicly admit. In December 1974, astronomy professor Dr. Chandra Wickramasinghe from Cambridge University published a revolutionary article in the prestigious journal Nature. He proposed that life did not originate on Earth, but was deliberately seeded by extraterrestrial visitors through meteorites and comets. This theory, known as directed panspermia, suggests that our very existence may be the result of a cosmic genetic engineering project. The evidence for directed panspermia is more solid than many imagine. Recent analyses of meteorites recovered under controlled conditions have revealed the presence of complex amino acids and even liquid water preserved in salt crystals. These fundamental components of life survived the extreme conditions of space for millions of years, proving that life can indeed travel between planets. But here's the truly intriguing part. If life on Earth was deliberately seeded by an extraterrestrial intelligence, this would mean that our cosmic visitors have been monitoring the development of life on our planet for billions of years. And what would be the best way to monitor this development? By establishing permanent observation bases in the deep oceans. Recent genetic studies have identified DNA sequences in various terrestrial species that lack clear evolutionary predecessors. These sequences appear suddenly in the genetic record, as if they had been artificially inserted. Some independent researchers suggest that these genetic anomalies may be evidence of ongoing reptilian interventions in terrestrial evolution. The discovery of extremophiles, organisms that thrive in conditions considered impossible for life, also supports the theory of extraterrestrial origin. Creatures that live in hydrothermal vents on the ocean floor, withstanding temperatures and pressures that should be lethal, may be direct descendants of organisms brought by reptilian visitors from worlds with similar environmental conditions. 1,300 kilometers east of Papua New Guinea, the Solomon Islands archipelago hides some of the most disturbing reports about giant reptilian creatures. Although these islands are known primarily for the bloody battles of World War II, local legends tell a much older and more mysterious story. For centuries, Solomon Islands inhabitants have preserved oral traditions about gigantic beings that inhabit the mountainous regions of the main islands. But these aren't simple folkloric legends. The accounts describe intelligent creatures with clearly reptilian characteristics, capable of complex communication and possessing advanced technology. Tribal elders speak of underground tunnels that connect the islands, allowing these giant beings to travel hundreds of kilometers without ever emerging to the surface. These tunnels supposedly connect terrestrial bases to submerged structures on the ocean floor, creating a transportation network that remains completely hidden from human eyes. In 1998, during a gold mining operation in Guadalcanal, workers reported an incident that seems to validate these ancient legends. A 10-ton bulldozer blade was removed for overnight repairs and left at the excavation site. The next morning, workers found the blade displaced by more than 200 meters, with giant footprints in the mud around it. The footprints measured more than 45 centimeters in length and showed distinctly reptilian characteristics. including claw marks and a toe configuration that didn't correspond to any known animal. Even more disturbing, the footprints led directly to an opening in the rock that seemed to provide access to an underground tunnel system. Australian author Marius Boirayon spent decades investigating reports of reptilian giants in the Solomons and reached an extraordinary conclusion. His research indicates that these creatures are not remnants of a primitive era, but representatives of a technologically advanced civilization operating both terrestrial and submarine bases in the region. Boirayon documented more than 200 first-hand accounts of encounters with these beings, including detailed descriptions of their physical characteristics. Witnesses consistently describe humanoid creatures 3 to 4 meters tall, with greenish-gray scaly skin, large yellow eyes with vertical pupils, and the ability to move on both land and water with equal ease. Even more intriguing are reports of technology observed in association with these creatures. Witnesses describe bright lights emanating from tunnels, complex mechanical sounds echoing from the depths, and occasionally flying objects emerging from camouflaged openings in the mountains. In the heart of the Mediterranean, the small island nation of Malta preserves some of the world's most puzzling archaeological mysteries. Beyond the impressive megalithic temples dating back more than 5,000 years, Malta is crossed by a complex network of grooves carved into the limestone rock, known simply as cart ruts. These grooves present characteristics that defy any conventional explanation. Some extend for kilometers through the rocky landscape, maintaining consistent width and depth that suggests the use of standardized vehicles. But here's the real mystery. Many of these grooves continue into the Mediterranean Sea, disappearing under the waves and reappearing on distant islands. Divers have documented submerged cart ruts at depths of up to 40 meters below current sea level. Considering that global ocean levels were about 120 meters lower during the last ice age, this suggests these grooves were created at least 12,000 years ago, much earlier than mainstream archaeology considers possible for an advanced civilization. But who or what could have created such a sophisticated transportation network at a time when, supposedly, only primitive hunter-gatherers inhabited the region? Maltese legends offer an intriguing answer. They speak of gigantic beings with reptilian characteristics who came from the stars and built both the temples and the transportation system. Dr. Robert Schoch, a geologist from Boston University known for his controversial research on the age of the Sphinx, has extensively studied Malta's cart ruts. His geological analysis confirms that many of these grooves are significantly older than any known human civilization in the region. Schoch observes that the grooves show erosion patterns consistent with thousands of years of exposure to the elements. But paradoxically, some sections appear to have been created with tools or technology that left incredibly precise marks in the hard rock. This suggests the use of advanced equipment that goes far beyond the capabilities of any known ancient civilization. The connection with reptilian visitors becomes clearer when we examine Malta's megalithic temples. These structures contain extensive serpentine symbolism, including detailed sculptures of stylized serpents and patterns reminiscent of reptilian scales. Even more significant, many of the temples were designed with advanced acoustics that specifically amplify low sound frequencies, similar to those used by modern reptiles for communication. If advanced reptilian civilizations really established bases in our oceans, what kind of technology would they need to master? The evidence suggests capabilities that go far beyond what we consider possible with our current science. First, the question of oceanic pressure. To build permanent structures in the depths where many sightings are reported, it would be necessary to master materials and construction techniques that can withstand pressures of hundreds of atmospheres. Our own deep diving technology requires massive equipment and complex support systems just for temporary visits to these depths. Witness analyses suggest that reptilian underwater objects operate without creating the expected hydrodynamic disturbances. This indicates mastery of propulsion principles that eliminate water resistance, possibly through manipulation of gravitational or magnetic fields around the craft. The reported speed of these objects, frequently exceeding 300 kilometers per hour when submerged, would be impossible with conventional propulsion due to water friction. This suggests technology that can locally alter the physical properties of water, perhaps creating vacuum bubbles or force fields that dramatically reduce resistance. Even more intriguing is the apparent ability of these vessels to instantly transition between aquatic and aerial environments. Witnesses consistently report objects that emerge from water and accelerate into airspace without the gradual speed change that would be necessary for our technology. Engineers specializing in fluid dynamics have calculated that the G-forces involved in these maneuvers would be lethal to carbon-based organisms as we know them. This suggests that the operators of these vessels either possess physiology radically different from ours, or master inertial field technology that neutralizes the effects of acceleration. One of the most convincing pieces of evidence for the existence of a reptilian civilization in the oceans comes from anomalous patterns of underwater communication detected by naval monitoring installations around the world. Since the 1960s, military hydrophones have captured acoustic signals of unknown origin emanating from various deep oceanic regions. These signals, informally known as bloop sounds, exhibit characteristics that don't correspond to any known natural phenomenon or human technology. Project SOSUS, an underwater listening network developed by the US Navy during the Cold War, documented thousands of these anomalous acoustic events. What makes these signals particularly intriguing is their apparent organized structure, suggesting intelligent communication rather than random noise. Spectral analysis of these signals reveals complex patterns resembling language, with repetitive elements suggesting vocabulary and syntax. Even more significant, these signals are frequently detected originating simultaneously from multiple oceanic locations separated by thousands of kilometers, indicating a coordinated communication network. Dr. James Hartwell, a cryptographer who worked on classified naval intelligence projects, analyzed decades of these acoustic records. His preliminary conclusion is that the signals show statistical characteristics consistent with complex language, possibly operating at frequencies optimized for transmission across long oceanic distances. Hartwell observes that the frequency patterns used are ideal for long-range communication in aquatic environments, suggesting sophisticated understanding of oceanic acoustics that requires advanced scientific knowledge. This contradicts the possibility that these signals are produced by known marine animals. Far from being mere historical curiosities, sightings of reptilian underwater activity continue to be reported regularly around the world. Organizations like the Center for Studies of Anomalous Aerial Phenomena have cataloged more than 2,000 reports of objects submerging or emerging from oceans in the past 2 decades. Merchant Marine Captain Eduardo Silva was commanding a Brazilian cargo ship when, in 2019, his crew observed something extraordinary 400 kilometers off the coast of Rio de Janeiro. A metallic object approximately the size of a nuclear submarine emerged from nearby waters, remained on the surface for about 20 minutes, and then submerged again without creating significant waves. Silva, a 30-year navigation veteran, emphasizes that the object didn't correspond to any known vessel. Its surface was perfectly smooth, without towers, antennas, or other visible structures. Even more disturbing, the water around the object seemed to glow with a blue-greenish light that intensified when the object moved. Similar cases have been reported by commercial fishermen in the North Pacific, where cylindrical objects are occasionally observed moving at impossible speeds just below the surface. These sightings frequently coincide with the temporary disappearance of fish in large areas, as if local marine life were actively avoiding the presence of these objects. Modern technology has enabled more detailed documentation of these events. GPS systems allow precise location, digital cameras capture visual evidence, and fishing sonars detect underwater objects that behave inconsistently with known marine life. A fundamental question remains: why would an advanced reptilian civilization choose to establish bases in our oceans rather than directly colonize Earth's surface? The answer may lie in the unique nature of energy available in deep oceanic environments. Earth's oceans are massive sources of energy in multiple forms. Ocean currents carry kinetic energy equivalent to thousands of nuclear power plants. Thermal gradients between surface and deep waters represent virtually unlimited energy potential. And geothermal activity on the ocean floor offers direct access to the planet's internal heat. For a civilization that masters cold fusion technology or direct thermal energy conversion, Earth's oceans would represent practically inexhaustible energy resources. This would allow operation of complex technological bases for indefinite periods without dependence on external resources. Additionally, oceans offer perfect isolation from human interference. While we constantly monitor our skies and terrestrial surface, oceanic depths remain largely unexplored and unsupervised. A civilization that values privacy and non-interference would find the ideal operational environment in the oceans. The thermal stability of deep oceans also offers technological advantages. Consistent temperatures facilitate operation of sensitive equipment, while the absence of meteorological variations eliminates many environmental factors that could interfere with advanced systems. Perhaps the most intriguing evidence for an ancient reptilian presence in our oceans comes from terrestrial biology itself. Recent genetic studies have identified DNA sequences in various marine species that appear to have artificial origin. Geneticist Dr. Kevin Martinez, working with samples from deep-water creatures, discovered genetic patterns that don't fit into any known evolutionary tree. These genes appear suddenly in the fossil record without clear predecessors, as if they had been artificially inserted into the terrestrial genetic code. Particularly intriguing are sequences found in various cephalopod species, including giant squids and deep-water octopi. These animals exhibit intelligence and capabilities that go far beyond what would be expected based on their evolutionary position, suggesting possible genetic engineering by an external intelligence. Comparative analyses reveal that some of these anomalous genetic sequences are more similar to terrestrial reptile DNA than to the close evolutionary relatives of these marine creatures. This suggests intentional hybridization between reptilian genetics and terrestrial marine life. Even more provocative, some of these genetic modifications appear to be active only in high-pressure environments, like deep oceanic waters. This indicates that the modifications were specifically designed to function in underwater environments, possibly as part of an adaptation program for oceanic colonization. If the evidence we explored today points to a reality even more extraordinary than we can imagine, what would be the implications for our species and our future on planet Earth? The existence of an advanced reptilian civilization operating secretly in our oceans would suggest that we are not the only intelligent inhabitants of Earth. This would raise fundamental questions about our true position in the planetary hierarchy and whether our technological evolution has been monitored or even influenced by this hidden presence. From a scientific standpoint, confirmation of reptilian underwater technology would revolutionize our understanding of physics and engineering. Propulsion principles that allow high-speed movement through water without significant resistance would have transformative applications for human transportation and oceanic exploration. The question of coexistence also becomes critical. If these civilizations have operated secretly for millennia without direct interference in human affairs, this suggests a non-intervention policy that could continue indefinitely. Alternatively, our increasing capacity for oceanic exploration could eventually lead to direct encounters that both species may not be prepared to handle. There's also the possibility that our own evolution has been influenced by this reptilian presence. If directed panspermia really occurred, as the evidence suggests, then our very existence may be the result of a long-term project by these advanced civilizations. As we explore these profound mysteries that hide beneath the waves of our oceans, one thing becomes clear. We are only beginning to scratch the surface of secrets that may redefine our understanding of reality. The evidence we examined today, from declassified military documents to witness reports around the world, paints a consistent picture of non-human intelligence operating in our oceans. Whether through the impossible technology observed by our own naval forces, the communication patterns detected by our monitoring systems, or the genetic anomalies discovered in deep-sea creatures, the indications point to a presence that challenges our conventional notions about who shares this planet with us. What makes this investigation even more fascinating is that we're dealing with mysteries that remain active. These aren't just historical curiosities, but ongoing phenomena that can be studied, documented, and eventually understood. Each new sighting, each scientific discovery, each witness account adds another piece to the puzzle we're trying to solve. Perhaps the most intriguing aspect of all this is the possibility that these reptilian civilizations have observed our development as a species from the beginning. If they really were responsible for seeding life on our planet through directed panspermia, then our very existence may be part of an ongoing experiment or long-term project. This doesn't mean we should blindly accept all the theories we explored. Healthy skepticism is essential when dealing with extraordinary claims. But we also can't ignore the growing body of evidence suggesting that our understanding of life on Earth is incomplete. As our technology advances and our capacity to explore oceanic depths improves, we're likely to find more evidence of this hidden presence. More advanced sonar systems, deep water submersibles, and more sophisticated genetic analysis techniques may finally provide us with the definitive answers we seek. The question that remains is, are we prepared for those answers? Confirmation that we share our planet with advanced reptilian intelligences would fundamentally change our perspective about our place in the universe. It would be both a humbling experience and an opportunity, forcing us to reconsider not only our history, but also our future as a species. For now, the oceans keep their secrets well guarded in the dark depths where pressure crushes and sunlight never penetrates. But each wave that breaks on the shore carries with it the possibility that someday, finally, the truth about our underwater reptilian neighbors will surface. What do you think about all this evidence? Are we alone on this planet, or do the depths of our oceans hide civilizations that have observed our development for millennia? Leave your thoughts in the comments and continue with us on this journey of discoveries. If this content sparked your curiosity about the hidden mysteries of our world, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate notifications. We have much more to explore together about the secrets that shape our reality in ways we may have never imagined possible.